Good morning. It's just another practice morning. I have a different guitar today, so if you're just jumping on, I have a different guitar. So it's a locally made guitar. It's one of my favorite guitars. And good morning. I see you're on, and I just wanted to let you know I've got a different guitar today. This is made by a student of the great Dana Bourgeois, and a great guitar luthier in his own right. Day 2 or day 3 or what day? It's the nth day of practice. I'm just recording my practices. I'm going to try not to talk a lot during the recording process, during the sharing process. It's just that we want to make it from now until a year from now, just so we can measure any sort of gains, like we can observe realized gains in a 12-month period. And we'll see that it's not just about sharing useless videos that nobody wants to watch live, but this is actually some really great stuff that we can do and incorporate and fold into our daily guitar lives, our day-to-day existence. And we'll start with the small movable mini positions, as Mr. Goodrick calls these mini positions. So I'm starting at 60 beats per minute, and I'm using fingers 3 and 4 again this morning because the fingers are just, they're not as strong as the other fingers, and I definitely want to have that asset built up in my left hand, my fret hand anyway, and I'm doing this so that we can observe what actually happens behind the scenes during a guitar practitioner. Let's say you're a guitar practitioner, like what are the things that you're doing while you practice? And those aren't the things that we present necessarily to the public. So this is a series that I'm reluctant to share because, we're accustomed to living in a different place and that's okay, but it's a demand attention economy, so it's currently, and what I'm trying to do here is just put media out there that is not, at least from my person, that it's not designed to be seeking attention. It's designed to educate and inform, or inform and educate. And the more I practice talking behind my guitar left hand, the less I'm actually focusing on my guitar's my fretting. I'm going to say fretting hand because some of us are left-hand guitar players. So fret hand, picking hand, and that way we'll know I won't cause any confusion over time here. I'm just going to try to remain connected to this practice. So if I'm not remaining considerately focused on exactly what's going on here, I run the risk of just kind of having the practice session is supposed to be, for me, like an enjoyment session, right? An appreciation session, where I'm appreciating mechanically, all of the different things that we can grow to appreciate as guitarists. What I'm trying to do here is that I've never really taken the time because to explain in my, a one-on-one or a direct interface guitar session, because it's a lot to absorb and there's no rewind button in a live setting. But these are all of the things that I want to share with students of mine, friends of mine, students who've been friends who've been, guitar students and practitioners, along with me for over a decade, right? And these are things that you can't, people say you can't teach groove, I think you can, but, and these are the things that you can't teach. Well, I think you can, because now I have access to sharing this in real time. But if you are interested in any part of this session, if you're anything like me, you'd go back and bookmark it, and then you take some notes with whatever you take notes with now, and then go back and take a look at that part of the video, pause and rewind, and then add that into your practice repertoire or routine. Right now I'm working in 16th notes, and I'm getting a little excited because you just heard my high E string bark back at me. And again, it barked back at me. I don't need to play the high E string any harder than any of the other strings. So I like to have my action set low so that it encourages me to focus on how sensitive the guitar is. And I don't, the input that I give it, I don't always need to get it's not a race to the top of the hill for, whose guitar is louder. In my book right now, at the moment, sometimes it is. Sometimes I want to just turn it up to 11. And I'm getting a little off track with the metronome, so I'm just going to take another second to focus on the metronome and regroup my thoughts. Focus on my breathing. Focus on my right hand. Focus on my left hand. We'll introduce patterns to these things later on, such as, but I'm still working on, let's see, I've got to use that stretch now. So let's get that stretch going between fingers 3 and 4. And then this is a really great place where I start to wake up every time still. So this is how I know that I need to still incorporate this, at least run this sequentially through my practice sequence. So Mr. Matheny says, if it's something he's good at, it doesn't need to practice, he doesn't practice it. So we want to reserve those things for, the back burner cycle. Eventually this will become a back burner project that we'll check in on maybe once a week or once every 3 days. So you might jump on one of these morning sessions or practice sessions and see me doing something completely different, and that's okay, because I'm going to set different parameters for each practice. Like right now, I need to focus on posture again. That wasn't too bad. The 3rd and 4th fingers are going well this morning. I think fingers 2 and 3 are going to be a little bit more challenging as we get closer to fret number 1, or position. I don't know what position we'll call it, because finger 1 goes down below 0, right? So I always use finger 1 as a position indicator, kind of like if you've got a strike indicator in your fly fishing stream, right? There's a bite when the thing dips. It's a sensitive moment, but first finger is definitely behind the 0 fret. So I guess I'm going to call it position -1, for lack of better terminology, because I can't, in all good conscience, refer to it as position 1 and remain consistent with all of the other logic I've built up on the fretboard over the span of a hot minute. It's funny how you think about Adrian Bellur and how, you know, Fripp, and how some of us, the Zappas of the world, how some of us view the language of music and as it relates directly to guitar. So I primaried on guitar, right? So you notice I got down to position number 1 and I stopped stretching my fingers. So I've got to go back through that cycle all over again. Hey, good morning. Giver, nice. That's great. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're here again. So it looks like that icon, I saw that yesterday, didn't I? So I could say welcome back to you. Oh, okay, so I don't see the comments. If you're here, just just click that thumbs up if you want to, just to keep me kind of like in tune with what's going on the screen. Because sometimes when I'm engaged in practice, and especially in the morning, I'm waking up. I'm not really waking up now, but my fingers are waking up. I kind of miss, I forget that I'm doing a live stream sometimes. So it's good to keep me in check and keep me informed about the comments, because I can't look at the comments at the moment. So what let's see. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, yeah. All right. Which guitar are you talking about again? Let's refresh that moment. I guess I am ready to incorporate some of those patterns. I haven't done any of this patternistic work with fingers 1 and 2 and this kind of stretch. But it does feel good. It does kind of give us a couple of mechanical differences. So mechanically, the right hand has to just approach all of that completely differently. Oh yeah, so the Conley guitar, yeah. Did I do a video covering this guitar yet? I probably should. I don't know if you know who Matt Lindsay is, but you can go check out Matt Lindsay. This is Matt Lindsay's old guitar. I don't share that kind of stuff typically, but I wouldn't normally. But Matt is just, Mr. Lindsay is just a great guitar player. There's so many great guitar players out there, and so how I meet up with him and end up with his guitar is beyond me. He's a flat picking guitar champion. I just got to say, he's just a wonderful player. So he's not from here. He won the guitar, and then Scott's a wonderful guitar player and guitar maker. I found that it's got a completely different voice from the Martin I've been using. I'm not going to use this guitar much because I don't want to burn it out. But I do have my Martin D2XE or whatever you call it, that I'm really, it's my workhorse right now. So the top, this is the model is, it's an Appalachian, and it's got a tap tuned top, which is very exciting. Tap tuned back too, and that's also very exciting to me, and people like me, probably you too, Giver. So it's really exciting stuff. So now I've got to get back into just warming up here, and I just got to keep moving that non-contiguous fingers with a fret, with a finger stretch in there, right? So I'm using fingers 2 and 4, and 2 and 4 are just especially after we did that wake-up call on fingers 3 and 4. That preceded this. Now I'm really feeling the ability to stretch between fingers 2 and 4 right here. This is feeling, really good after you do yoga for 3 months. The stretches start to feel good, So it's one of those, I'm already feeling the benefits of using fingers, like this in the morning mechanically to get going and systematically, patternistically. See, I think I want to start working on quintuplets here. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like I'm starting to wake up, and my right hand and left hands are wanting to get to the next speed level. And I'm really feeling the benefit of getting this first finger stretched back here, way down to fret 1. This time we're in position 1, aren't we? Not -1. -1, position -1. Jason, there's no such thing. What are you talking about? -1 is when you go down to position 1 and your first finger is kicked off the fretboard by using the use of your other fingers. You can't, if you're doing this 2-1, 2-4 thing down here in position 1, you can't very well call it first position, because if you're using the first finger as the position indicator, then it's indicating that you're below fret 1. So that's kind of an interesting way to categorize that. Now we've done 2 fingers. Have we done 3 fingers yet? I guess we'll do that. Still got to work on that right hand, because I get to that high E string. And my right hand's not really doing it yet. It's just that it's 3-note packages against 4-note binary, so tertiary versus binary. So I've got to count where the 1 is. Playing things like this are really helpful, because I've found it really helps. It doesn't help me talk and play at the same time, that's for sure. Wow. But it does help phrasing. What if I was a metalhead? Need a lot. My hair to be longer though. Okay, I think we're nearing the end of that sequence. Thank goodness, that was a stressful one. I haven't been breathing, so I'm noticing that, that tension builds. And some of us, I have a bass player friend who builds it up, his jaw goes sideways when he plays, and you can see the tension sort of building up in our bodies. And that's how a workplace injury happens. I know it's funny as it sounds to have workplace injury from playing a guitar. Because, I don't know, does this work? I think it is. It's good work. I remember wanting to be a guitar teacher ever since I was, little. I was 15 years old, going into the local bar to play Sunday jams, and all my family, family and friends were musicians, and these really locally well-known and totally honed guitar players and bass players and singers, drummers. And 15 years old, I remember going in there to those little hole-in-the-wall bars for, like a Sunday jam or something. And that was a great place for people like me at that time to get bitten by the bug and then learn learn how to play, watch, because you can go to these things like we're doing right now. You can go to these things and say something if you want, or you can just sit there and observe. And then one day you feel like, well, I'm ready to ask a question. And I kind of forget sometimes that's how it works. Some of us are more sort of like extroverted than others, and some of us, we all have different learning styles and processes that we go through to absorb stuff. So I hope you stick with me throughout the course of the year, and then we will, we're definitely going to grow together. Anyway, so let me just jump right back into this right here. I remember that being a great place to just cut my teeth on learning how to play, and then preparing things to learn how to play, and then to present them to the public that's willing to go sit and listen and support at a local jam. I always used to hear these old timers just say support local music, but that's where it happens, and that's how we maintain what is going to happen. That's how we kind of help others find their path forward. And some of us, this is this is our identity. Some of us can take it or leave it. And some of us have a healthy separation between that and who we are, or our profession, or maybe it's all one and the same. But these are all places that we can examine these questions during the warm-up, right? So we're warming up and we're thinking, when we start to think about other things other than exactly what we're doing, primarily the breath is of primary importance. And then if you've been here before, you've heard me say that, right? Yeah, it is a little, it's tough. Giver, I'm looking at, you ought to check out the Scuttlebutton riff. It's a really good riff. Are you talking Stevie Ray Vaughan? Is that what you're talking? Now I'm just going to do the same thing with the left hand. Oh yeah, are you playing Scuttlebutton? That's another yeah, that's some great stuff. Man, if you haven't heard Stevie Ray Vaughan, again, another one of those things I assume. And it's so good for me to hear that stuff again, because I remember what was the name of that record that it's on? Couldn't Stand the Weather? I'm trying to get that 4-finger pattern together with that finger 4 stretch, right? Yeah, it's got that cover of that album has an awesome album cover. Man, it's like one of the last great ones. At least if it's that record, I think it's that record that has it's just one of those things that, you can't help but wonder, who was that guy? All right, so my right hand is kind of warming up. I'm going to do one more of these 1, 2, 3, 4 exercises. So if you need to bail now's the chance. It's going to happen. And I see the likes coming in. That's definitely helpful. It's anything that you can do to sort of like, nudge me, and the comments are great. Oh, SRV, you could listen to worse people, man. He's a rare bird for sure. Like, it's hard to. Yeah, I'm not really ready to kind of take off yet. But let's stick around. I'm sure Stevie Ray Vaughan will come up over the span of the next year. And it could be that we start doing, electric stuff after we get electric warm-ups, after I get through this holiday season. I'm trying to work out what I'm trying to get to now. I'm going to talk. So while I talk, I'll use this time to straighten out my act, get my breathing under control, and stretch, I've got to really impress upon myself every day that this moment of stretch is like observing creation, right? It's something we need to take the time to do. We cannot progress in the world of guitar without taking a breather. I know we're supposed to focus on breath the entire practice. Sometimes we forget, but stretching is the time where we want to remember. And I'm doing 15 seconds up, 15 seconds down on both hands, right? Both hands have to have the same treatment. I don't know if any of you feel like this, but some days I feel like, what am I doing even playing guitar? Man, what am I doing? I'm wasting my life. And those are, you know, they're not so challenging, because those are the questions we all ask ourselves, and those are decisions and definitions that we all end up providing for ourselves. And sometimes those solutions all come at once, you know, like James Taylor says, his songs sometimes write themselves, or you have to kind of work at it, you know, like Jimmy Webb. And it's a craft to hone. But now I'm all stretched and ready to go. And I'm really trying to work on, you were here yesterday, if you were here yesterday, you know I'm trying to work on, I was calling it bluegrass, but I'm not really from the South. You could probably guess by my accent, my accident. So I call it flat picking guitar. Yeah, I know what you mean. The play more than practice thing is definitely, it's an integral part of another integral part of our growth. So was it Pestalozzi, or who was the Swiss psychologist who was studying learning? It was the playing is like the discovery-based method. There is no substitution for taking a block. Oh, there's something over there. There are two somethings over there, so I can stack that. Oh, if I lift it up, I can put it on another thing, and then wow, look, there are two things in a different form factor. I can shift matter. Wow, that was, oh, wait a minute, what's this? This is this looks different than here. Oh, it's a color. Oh, it's red, right? And so, there's a thing in here. What is that? Oh, that's a B, or that's an R. Let's go R for red, right? So I can't, you know, unless I'm playing first, unless I do a fair amount of discovery on my own, I never have that meaning upon which to hang something useful, right? Do you know what I mean? The thing before the sign, the thing before the sign. So I think it's, you know, I don't know, like 60-40, is it 60-40? What's the ratio? 60% of the time we do things we don't want to do, but I want to practice, man. I want to observe every single moment. I really do. And sometimes, you know, it's, I lose that track of focus, and I just enter a stream of conscious, like what you're talking about. I think the act of playing, where there's not an ego involved. And so that's another thing that we will probably end up talking about. We'll probably end up unpacking. So most of the people I hike with, you know, hang with, are really, really deeper thinkers than I am. But I benefit from being around them. And so I feel like I might be around those kinds of people here, only because that seems to be who I travel with in my own life. And I guess this is my own life, a live stream. Damn, I'm doing a live stream about practicing and warming up. So, and here I am just talking my life away. Honestly, what I find sometimes is that whenever I'm playing SRV, Stevie Ray Vaughan, that I am actually practicing while I just do that. I get I get to work on my scales and everything else while just having his music. Oh, yeah. Now you're talking about jam tracks. Yeah, that's another great. Wow, I'm getting totally derailed here. Let me answer that. I'm just gonna go back through and try to. Oh, I'll do these right here. These I haven't done these yet. These are pretty mindless, and maybe I can talk over these. We'll see what happens. So I've had like brilliant guitar instructors in my life, and and it's no fault to them that I turned out how I did, but I think I'm kind of happy with the progress that I'm interested in learning and interested in continuing along. So they always said that most of the good ones, all of the good ones said this, that if you just let the record roll, like what Giver's talking about here, if you just let the record roll, then you could just let the track roll and let it play, and then you play along with it. So you might have to adjust volumes and get yourself, if you're playing with headphones. I used to play with the hi-fi or the cassette tape deck, which kind of the sound print kind of most of the time sucked, but I didn't even know. I was listening for the next note on the guitar, right? So dial in the volume and get to a place where you can set up that playback where it's dynamically the same as your guitar level. We're talking about sound pressure level. And play along with that track sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. And I really appreciate you bringing this up because it's so critically important. I'm supposed to be on low E string here. All right. You just act as if you're this is serious now. Like, you let that backing track play, like that Stevie Ray Vaughan who Couldn't Stand the Weather or Scuttlebutton, and play along with it. It doesn't matter if you know anything or not. It matters not. Or you just play along with it like you're the guy they forgot, you're the guitar or gal, or you're the person they forgot, guitarist, let's say guitarist, they forgot to hire for the gig, and you're just, you're the new session player for the day. And I'll tell you what, man, it's you could spend an entire lifetime just doing that. Jeez, I don't think it could, it doesn't get much better than that. All right, so I think I'm done pretty much with the warm-up. I'm due on my TikTok channel, and I hate to leave, but I think I've got to spend a little time over there, and for some reason, I'm not even sure why. I really like what's going on in my YouTube channel. So I'll see you later today. I have another couple of guitar lessons coming up for today that are just going to pop out today or ship today. And tomorrow is Saturday, if you're watching now. Today, live. Tomorrow's Saturday. And there's another version, the next version of the chord chemistry series hits tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So and it premieres, so we'll be there watching with you in case you have questions or you want to throw some comments out live. That'd be great. And so thanks very much for hanging here. And all right, I appreciate that. So we'll see you, all of us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Actually, I'm doing lessons 5 days a week. There's sort of like warm-ups 5 days a week. That was my commitment. Before I wrap today, I do 5 days a week, which is Monday through Friday, and then I try to give the weekend to observe creation and stuff, and do the some other things just to keep my mind fresh and keep keep things moving. So it's likely that I do post some live stuff on the weekends, and it's just going to be catch as catch can. And sometimes it happens. Most likely it won't. But Monday morning, I'll see you again Monday morning at like 8 o'clock. 7 o'clock I usually start, but for some of us it's a little early. So I've been pushing my plan here. The grand plan is to push my start time back from a relatively comfortable time to an earlier time. so that we can learn to practice the guitar before we start doing our other day stuff. And that really is a great way to incorporate the guitar into our guitar lives, right? And so now I'm all warmed up. I've got to jump over to TikTok and talk a little bit about flat pickifying. The, what was it, silver bells? I think we're working on silver bells, trying to get a performance-ready version of that, you know, an original flat picking version of that adapted for guitar. And I guess we'll try to get that together in the next week or two. So jump over there if you want. Jason Carey Guitar everywhere you go. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for commenting, and thank you so much for the likes. I see them, and I'm seeing that you're here, and I really appreciate you hanging out today. Are there any other questions before I go? Does anybody have any other questions before I jump? I'll give it a second, you know, just in case it takes a second to formulate. All right, I'm doing lessons every 5 days a week in the mornings, you know, half hour here and there, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.